Hi everybody, Bald&curious here. So there's a big trend going on about the Ken Hackathorn and all his smart-ass podcast ideas about the red dots and lights and Appendix K and whatnot. And everybody knows I'm a second world best expert on things like that right after the Yankee Marshal. So here's my 2 cents. All right, so I'm not a law enforcement, never been law enforcement. I did 1 year of Slovak military, which is equivalent to probably a freaking 6 months in the Coast Guard over here, or Air Force. So didn't really get into the guns till pretty much my 40s. Here's my 2 cents. All right, okay, I don't know if I can show the gun, so I'm just gonna use the grip. There's absolutely zero disadvantage having a light on your weapon, on your pistol. Regardless if it's pistol, shotgun, AR-15, PCC, whatever, whether it's a home defense or something else, there's zero disadvantage for having it. For one, it adds a little bit of the weight at the end of your muzzle, which reduces the recoil on the muzzle rise and helps with the follow-up shots. That's been proven fact. Now, if you don't believe me, go search the web. Secondly, it helps you identify what you're pointing the gun at in low light scenarios or stuff like that, right? So it just makes so much easier to identify. Yes, it's not a bad idea having a flashlight in your pocket. As a matter of fact, almost all the time, I would say 99% of the time, I have a knife and a flashlight in my pocket. If I fly and I can't have a knife on me, I would still have a flashlight in my pocket. Even if it's, even just a tiny baton from Olight, this is what I call my suit flashlight, my dress flashlight. I always have something in my pocket. And having it at the gun, I don't see why not. Now, he pointed out that he saw a picture or video or something where a cop or somebody else was shining the light from his weapon-mounted light on a victim while EMS was doing whatever they were doing. And although, yes, it goes against one of the cardinal rules, never point the gun at what you're not willing to destroy, if this was one of those scenarios, it's a last second life or death scenario, every second counts. I'd say as long as the gun's empty and whoever's holding it knows he's empty and he has a finger off the trigger, and those couple of seconds between him shining that light or searching for a different light will save a person's life, I absolutely have no problem with that. It boils down, at the end of the day, it is just a tool. So he kind of reminds me of, actually, you know what, let's back up. Let's go talk about the red dots. Now he's against, obviously when he talks about the red dots, he sounds like a old school union carpenter that is gonna say, why would you need a screw gun? I can just use a screwdriver. This thing doesn't need batteries, doesn't need electricity, it'll just work. When for a fact that this will make life a million times easier, it makes you a million times more productive, and so on and so forth. In other words, progress. Something these old-timers are kind of stuck behind, and I see it all the time in the building industries. You got somebody that says, oh, I've been doing it like this for 30 years. Well, guess what? Just because you've been doing it for 30 years, it doesn't mean you've been doing it the right way, or that there's no different way, or technologies haven't changed, and so on and so forth. So a lot of these old school guys don't want to adopt and putting themselves above the rest of us because, let's say, they have some kind of military training, or they are in the military, or law enforcement and whatnot. That has zero influence on me, okay? Because I know a ton of cops, and I pretty much guarantee the majority of the cops are not gun guys, and they suck at handling the gun, and they suck at shooting the gun. And I'm gonna go as far as say that mass majority of the regular Joe Blows in the military, they simply do not have adequate training, and or they simply not the gun people. All right, regular Joe Blow like me that pays for all his training and does the research and spends X amount of day on the range I'll probably be a better shot at the most of the scenarios than regular law enforcement. I'm gonna go as far, I'll probably perform better under stress than them, because a lot of these guys never been under the stress. And believe it or not, 100% I'm believer that competition shooting is probably one of the best self-induced stress scenarios you can get without actually getting shot at, other than real force and force training. I digress on that. Believe me or not, we can leave it up for discussion, but at the end of the day, it's a lot easier having one dot to point at my target instead of lining up the sights, focusing on the front sight. Now, if you're gonna say, oh, low light scenario, you can have a night sights. Yes, you can, but unless it's almost pitch black, 90% of the night sights are worthless. And when it is a pitch black, those night sights ain't gonna work because you don't know what you're aiming at anyway. Unlike the red dot works in pretty much all the lightning scenarios. So it, especially low light, it just, when you can identify what you're shooting at and you don't want to turn the light on, you got a tactical advantage. Again, my opinion, take it with a grain of salt. Now, as far as the Appendix K, I'm gonna leave it for everybody else. There was a point where I didn't like Appendix K. I didn't like it because I had a lot bigger belly. It was a lot harder for me. Yes, there's still that little doubt in your mind that you have a loaded gun pointed at your femoral artery or at your really valuable member, which if you have it at 4 o'clock, it kind of points at your ass. So it's really not that, glutes are not that important. But again, boils down to know your gun, be safe, carry safe, and all that. And making fun of somebody going as far as, if you Appendix K, every gun becomes a decocker. It's just, what's the right word? It's just a plain ignorant. It's just a plain ignorant saying something like that when you simply never tried it, you don't know. And you just, like I said, if you're stuck in the last century, then I got a news for you, you know. We're 24 years into 21st century, so a lot of things that changed, a lot of the technology progressed. Everything is a lot better. Yes, the red dots can go down. Yes, million things can happen, but as long as you buy the right equipment, as long as you maintain it, there's almost no chance it's gonna fail in this day and age. If you look at our military, they got red dots all over their rifle. Nobody really uses iron sights anymore. Everybody that buys an AR-15, the first thing that they do is they slap some kind of red dot on it. Okay, same goes for most of the PCCs and the rifles. So why not have it on the pistols? Yeah, the red dots are a little more finical, a little smaller, a little more delicate, but more and more the industry shows they are more than adequate. They're robust. They can take care of the beating, and they simply perform when we need them to. So why not make our lives easier? And I don't know about you, but if I ever get in a gunfight, which I don't plan on to, but if I ever get in a gunfight, I want every freaking advantage I can get, whether it's to have a red dot, having a light, having it at the appendix where I can access it 10 times faster than somebody that carries at 12 o'clock, which is probably a topic for another video, or ability to have one free hand while I have a gun with the actual flashlight, opposed to having light and a gun and having two hands occupied. Like I said, I'm not a no instructor, but I do have a common sense, and yeah, I'm gonna leave you with that. As always, have fun and keep shooting and keep training.